All right, we're going to do an updated video here for 2025. For those of you new to SCORM and then trying to make sense of runtimes, runtime demos, and packaging even, I'm going to kind of break down the runtime itself. Again, I know I try to put this in a format that both non-technical and technical people can dive into, but I know staring at a lot of this gets a little bit overwhelming. So let's do a little bit of a visual aid here. Again, with the package, I'm assuming you're bringing your own platform and you've got a dev team or you're really somewhat technical. As far as the non-technical folks go, you're going to have some hurdles because obviously we need to store data and we need to retrieve data. So for that type of approach, I would say we have to mitigate that with getting a host and kind of getting some things set up so you can get that running. And I can aid with that, but generally that means we need more of a turnkey solution for that particular situation. For the technical folks, I'm certain you're probably coming at this with a certain tech stack. So I'm going to talk about the little components that we have with that, how they plug in. But first we'll do a visual aid here. So I'm going to go ahead and use the SCOBot player that I went ahead and provided here for people who do not have their own content packages to test with. We're going to launch this. So typically the shareable content object, or SCO as it was called, can be greeted with an introduction page or a title page or something like that. You're going to have something like a choice interaction where they get to answer questions. You're going to have a situation where you're going to have maybe multiple pages you're supporting in a player. You could be using other types of facilities, third-party ones, to generate content, or your customers are coming with their own content. So that's going to be kind of in the state that it's in. You don't always get to choose how those work, but that's just education there relating about where that comes from. I'm going to go ahead and hit exit here. And I'm going to pretend like I didn't have time to complete this. It's the next day. I'm ready to resume it. So typically content will try to put that back into the format that it was when they left. If it's authored well, that should work. And then we can go ahead and continue. And again, this would be an example of a word search. I'm going to go ahead again. I'm going to highlight at least one word here. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time in this because that's going to make this video run a little bit long. I do see JavaScript right here. And let's see if I can find Bluetooth. I see two O's there. That's not it. Here's Bluetooth right here. Perfect. So this one wasn't too hard. You can see that's completed. Again, I'm going to pretend like I left. And I got to come back. And then we want that to pretty much return back to its original state. All right, so we'll do this last one, just a match game demo. Looks like the matching on this was kind of close. I got that wrong. That's not right. There we go. Good. We'll go ahead and just wrap this up. So again, just kind of simple animations, however this works. Again, it's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and hit exit on this. We'll say I forgot to turn it in. Now, this is a common problem. I hear people saying, well, the content's never marked done. Well, in order to mark that done, typically you would have a situation where you, I mean to push that button. This would be the one. You could hit finish and exit. At that point now it's marked done. So by setting the exit type to normal, that's what actually tells this thing not to suspend anymore. Otherwise it assumes the student is not done yet and it wants you to return so you can continue where you left off. So you can see now got this 100% correct. It's completed and passed and we're down the road. If you so choose, you can download the data model here. If you're a content developer and you're testing, we're going to go ahead and load this up so we can see it. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time here, but you can see here we have a choice interaction. Looks like we have the matching interaction. We have another matching, looks like that got placed here as well. And again, these could be journaled. Yeah, actually the one probably is related to the word search, my bad. So yeah, we had a word search, we had a match game, and we had the choice interaction. Okay, so the rest of this data, again, all the objectives, you're going to see that, and you can see how the data is stored and retrieved. All right, so as far as your own platform, the package itself, which is over here, basically provides you with some runtimes. So under COM, Cybercushion, and then plugins, you're going to see the runtimes for both SCORM 1.2 and 2004. These were included originally for jQuery as well as a framework free option, so that being Angular, React, Vue, and such. So you'll have those to start off with. I give you some example code for lesson viewers, and I did one in Angular 9 that will get updated here at some point to Angular 19. And then jQuery, again, a little bit older, but again, there's a lot of people still using it out there, because obviously if you're doing a framework, you might be getting in more advanced versions of JavaScript or TypeScript. And I'm still trying to basically stay compatible with those of you who are using those. I do provide some sample services, so those would be in Node. So you're going to have the ability to unzip a zip file and or parse the IMS manifest file. And again, that's in JavaScript. I have successfully used AI to convert that to Python, by the way. So you can very freely at least get yourself 80-90% of the way they're related to that, which is really cool now. There is some slight examples in PHP to just kind of help you get started, but that's generally the rundown. Obviously, how you display these things is ultimately up to you. You're going to have an assignments page, obviously giving them an ability to browse and upload content. You could even do bulk ingestion, I should say, of content. Get that all parsed, make it assignable so you can create a classroom. I'm going to do one more demo here, and this is just an example of some of the things I do. If I could type, there we go. So this is an example of more like a gamified way to do some training. So the hope would be under here, when you're creating different interaction groups, that here, this would be an example of a choice, a true, false, a fill in the blank and such, but you would add SCORM to this, for example. So if that was the goal, you could allow that, upload that content, and then make it assignable. And then what I'm going to do here is we'll go ahead and we will play one of these. Let's just go ahead and play this one. This would create a lobby. And what I'm going to do is bring up a fake session for a student. So I'm going to copy the game code. I would give that to the student, either through a message or an email or otherwise. They could then load, and you're going to see Cool Tiger 865 join. And at this point, the host can hit play, and you can see that it's controlling the student that would be remote. And we'll go ahead and answer some of these so you can kind of see some progress going on. Banana, we'll just say true to that. Again, these are just sample questions. This is a blank, I think, with 2 spaces. I think I'm going to hit refresh on this. Again, this would be putting it back where it was. There we go. I'm going to check on that. That one didn't work the first time, so I might have a bug. See, this is the joys of programming. But anyway, this is kind of showing you, again, multiplayer capability. Could you put a SCO here, a shareable content object? You absolutely could. Would it make sense? That's the other question. Maybe it wouldn't in this format. Could you make this assignable instead of a live game? Absolutely. So these are all just good options and things to think about when you're designing your own platform. But I just kind of wanted to show that off. So I'm going to go ahead and end the demo here. If there are any questions about anything, please let me know. I know there's a lot of literature here. It's like getting hit over the head with a lot of information. You also might be a content developer, so this was a joke. The runtime's completely different space versus the content development API. So yeah, that's free. The runtimes are not. All the way down at the bottom here, you have options for PayPal. Or if you want to reach out and have a conversation, we can absolutely set up a demo. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Any questions, please let me know. Please rewind the video if you feel like you need to cover anything else, and I will talk to everybody later.